I mean, how bad can she be?
Well, I mean...
Why are we bringing the horse from Vegas? Oh, really?
You should watch your mouth.
Don't touch.
You get off me!
It makes me feel embarrassing that I'm not going. I'm just up in my brain, but I never thought that I was gonna be with somebody like this, honestly. Someone I cannot even trust.
I feel like that you're being ignorant to your husband. That's what I feel.
I feel like you're stupid
party,
because you don't understand my side right now.
I feel
you cannot be that stupid.
Wow.
What's going on with them, you know?
I mean, I can't imagine it's going very well because Andre gotta own up to losing $75,000.
Hey, we weren't supposed to say anything about that.
We weren't?
No, he said, keep this confidential.
He did?
This latest episode of Happily Ever After is not great propaganda for marriage. If anything, I feel like it's rage bait.
She's standing by a man that is married. It's my husband. I have the rings.
That was rage bait. Let's get into it. Hi guys, welcome back to Nikki Faces Reality. We are here to discuss 90 Day Fiancé, Happily Ever After. We have so much to get into. As always, I will include timestamps so that you can skip around as you please. We're gonna jump straight into it. Before we do, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. It really helps with the algorithm. Thank you guys so much for being here. And we're gonna jump straight in with Andrei and Libby. Andrei does something to my nervous system that I'm just like, how do people tolerate this? Because there is a level of masculinity that is sexy, right? There is a level of masculinity that makes you feel safe. There's a level of masculinity that you're like, you know what? I'm going to trust my partner no matter what, even if I disagree. Then there's the masculinity that Andrei falls in. Sorry, I'm like afraid that I'm going to have mic issues. Then there's the masculinity that Andrei falls under, which is the masculinity of the man that knows nothing, is a doofus, cannot be trusted, but thinks that because he's the man, he should have the final say of everything, even though, again, he knows nothing. So we pick up where we left off with the fireworks. Libby is cringing because it is just so over the top. She doesn't understand it. She finds this party to be just a lot, like a wedding, and she doesn't understand the language really, so she is completely in the dark as to what's happening. We see them, I think, that night where she's trying to put the kids to bed. And, you know, he's not helping. He's on the bed looking at, I guess, people's videos of the event. And he's like, oh my God, it was such a hit. And she's like, about that, what exactly did you tell those people? Because that was a lot. And he's like, oh, I told them what I've been telling you, that we're going to move here. And she's like, we did not agree on that. We are not here to move. We are here to scope out if that is a possibility. So she's thrown off because in her mind, she thinks that she has been very clear about the fact that they're not there yet. And he is, you know, going in on her about the fact that she's now recognizing his efforts. Throwing a party is the last thing that she needs. That is not effort. That is for your ego to look like you're the big shot that has come from America. And so Libby is here, you guys, begging to be heard, and this guy is just so annoyed, and he calls her ignorant for not listening to her husband, and she's like, and you're stupid. You're acting stupid. You're not even listening. He really pisses me off because he is so tone deaf. He's like, I feel like you're trying to control our life, like you know what's best in America. And first of all, you're the one that's actively trying to control your lives. You fell in love with an American girl. You made the decision to get a visa to live in America. You have been living off of her and her father. You created this life there. Your kids are raised there. I don't think it's far-fetched for her to expect that that is where you guys would remain. And we see a moment where their youngest child is crying and Libby is about to head out to like get him. I think he grabs the child from Libby and he's like, you know what? Yeah, go shower and then come with the champagne and come with a better attitude. And Libby's like, I'm gonna go shower because I was gonna do that, not because you're telling me to do it.
Go get a shower.
I'm gonna take a shower.
Change your mood.
I'm gonna take a shower, but not because you're telling me to take a shower, because I want to take a shower.
Wow.
Okay?
Okay, independent American woman, go.
Please.
And I just, that dynamic where you have to be like, I'm putting my foot down on both ends, It is my personal hell. Like, to have a constant pissing contest with your husband, the person that's supposed to be your ally, I think the fuck not. But we get a pause from Moldova and we go back to Miami where we see Lauren, Alexi, Yara, and Jovi meet up. And the tea about this is that I think Yara is like, oh, I wonder how things are going in Moldova. And Alexi is like, not so good after he tells her that he lost 75K of their money. And the girls are like, what? And Jovi's like, you weren't supposed to say that. And Alexi's like, we weren't? So obviously, Alexi spills that basically they had invested 75K of Libby's money. Well, I guess their money because they're married, but Libby's money. And they put it towards this building, and then the guy completely stopped communicating with Andrei. So it's very possible that he got scammed. It's very possible that that money is gone, and he hasn't communicated that to Libby. So the girls are appalled. The guys are like, we should stay out of it completely. Like, don't say anything. But you know who's not going to stay out of it? Lauren. Because Lauren is like, I have been warning Libby, and now I have evidence that he's been lying and that she should not move to Moldova and that she should protect herself. And while I think that Lauren is correct, I don't think she should overstep. Because at this point, we know Libby's pattern. She will be the next person that Libby cuts out completely, because Libby's the only one that can complain about her husband. The minute people try to cape for her, she's like, you need to get out. And it's really sad because I feel like Andrei is a parasite in Libby's life. I've said it from the beginning of time and I will say it again. He literally is gonna suck her dry of everything. And it's unfortunate because she's in love with him. They have beautiful children. He's going to continue to keep her isolated. But anyway, we're back in Moldova. Libby's still big mad that everyone knew about this party. Everyone knew about the intentions of the party before her. He's still on this like mission to make her want to move to Moldova. So he takes her, his parents, and the kids to this petting zoo. And he's like, we don't have things like that in America. And it's like, we certainly do, but I digress. It looks like Libby did get her wish. They're now in a rental. And she is just like, I'm so grateful that my dad is coming because he will be the voice of reason in the situation. Because after all, her dad, Chuck, is the last person standing. He is the only person that Andrei won't completely kick out. My theory is because Chuck is the money. So it's not convenient for him to kick Chuck out, but he's kicked out everyone in Libby's life. Her sisters, her brother, her sister-in-law that she used to be besties with. Like, it is just, like I said, a parasite. Chuck is here and Chuck is like, oh my God, yeah, like I'm here to help. We'll, scope things out. I'm also really, interested in seeing your investment. And there's a moment, and I don't know if you guys caught that, and it just happened really fast. When Chuck asks about the investment property, Andrei says something like, oh, it's the same way that it was the last time you invested. And it was really fast. And I think Chuck said something like, it's, Libby's money. And Andrei's like, it's our money. And I'm like, whoa, did all of this money come from Libby's account that came mostly from her father? Like, this is so sketchy. And we see them, visit a few apartments. They're all penthouses. I get it that they need space for their kids and there's amenities that Libby is looking for. But I can't help but getting the feeling that Andrei just wants to be a big shot back in his hometown. That's just the energy that I get. And like, he's really pushing this hard that he wants to be, here. He asks the real estate agent, like, oh, are there schools around? And he thinks that, like, he's done his effort by asking about those schools. But he hasn't inquired about the quality of the schools. He hasn't inquired about the safety. It's just lame. I personally don't think that they're ever going to move to Moldova. I think that Libby is going to put her foot down on that. And if you follow them on socials, they look like they're very much still in Florida. That's it for them this episode. Let's move on to Darcey&Georgi. So the last time we saw these two, they were obviously in like the thick of a fight. But here they look, to be a little playful / passive aggressively talking about their issues. He's taking her around to markets and he just wants them to make the best of their time here. He hasn't been here for over a decade. He's with his wife. he needs her to pep up. So he takes her to the most romantic place, which is a castle. Obviously, Darcey's gonna love a castle. And I think that Georgi has been around Darcey so long that now he's starting to speak like her. So they're at this castle. I think it's like what, Asana Fortress or Asan's Fortress, something like that. I've never heard of it, but it's gorgeous. And he gets up there and he's like, you know, taking in the view, and he's like, this castle has gone through so many empires, so many wars, and it is still standing. Kind of like us, kind of like our love. And I'm like, oh my God, you know what? She's gonna eat this up. And she does. They have like a juicy makeout, like in the confessional, and she's like all hugged up at this castle.
He's been through everything, through so many empires, so many wars, so many battles. And in the end, it's still here. And remind me a lot of in our relationship, because our relationship, it's so many up and downs. But in the end, we rebuild it again, we renovate it again, and we don't give up.
And you know, Darcey, she can't help ruin a good moment. And I think it's just about her delivery. I think that what she wants is important. I think that it's important to communicate it to your partner. But after a while, you have to try like different methods. The complaining method every time is doing you no favors, right? So she's up here in this castle and she's like, I just need you to communicate more, like your job, like you make more money, like you're in a new position. Why didn't your wife know that? I would like to be proud. And he's like, do you really want to talk about that up here? Can we just have a good time? And he shuts down, and that's also not good. And I'm just very perplexed how these two complete opposites have stayed together this long and why they have this determination to stay together when they're like water and oil. And again, I've said it before, if you've chosen a person that acts a certain way, you can't be surprised when they act a certain way. And I believe this for both of them. Darcey, you got it with a guy that's super avoidant. Georgi, you got with an over-the-top, dramatic, super anxious attachment. And per usual, you know, they just kind of like bury their issues and they like start kissing a bunch. And who knows when these issues will be talked about again, maybe the next time. But the next scene we see is at this bar, Georgi takes Darcey with him to meet up with one of his friends. He used to be roommates when they were younger. They both were very disappointing in this scene, okay? Because it's clear that they lived together for a long time. They experienced their bachelor eras together. And Darcey's like, oh, so like, tell me how things were. Was he a ladies' man? And Darcey, don't ask questions that are going to make you hurt your own feelings, because obviously they got girls and they alluded to a little, you know, crazy situations. And Darcey's like, oh. And she's like, oh, you know, I'm just so glad to be getting to know, you know, about his life because, you know, we just have had so many ups and downs and I just feel like I've missed out. And you could see Georgi's face. He looks constipated because why would she bring up their issues to his friend? Like why would she put their business out there? But also, this is your first time meeting this friend. Like, why would you embarrass the both of you that way? Also, it sounds to me like the era that they're talking about was when he was much younger and Darcey wasn't in the picture. So you didn't miss out. It's not like it happened when you guys were going on and off again. Like, it just felt like she just wanted to bring up their issues. She wanted an arena to discuss their issues. And it's just not the time and place. You need a therapist. You need a couples counselor. You can't keep victimizing his family, his friends, your family, your friends. It's getting a little much. And so Georgi tries to switch up the subject like, oh, we're going to see my sister tomorrow. You know, she'll get to know more of my life, and then we're gonna meet my parents. And then, you guys, she has like a fur coat. He kind of like opens the coat and is like, oh, I just don't want her dressing like this to meet my parents. Can you imagine? And she's wearing something that shows cleavage, but she's purposely hiding it under the coat. So when he swings the coat open, she's like covering her boob. I didn't like that. It felt a little invasive for him to be like parading her body and stuff when she clearly had it covered. You know what I mean? Like, she was trying to be respectful. I didn't like that. And he wanted to embarrass her. And I don't know if that was a retaliation for the remark that she made, and maybe there was a lot more that wasn't shown, but I didn't like that. Okay, so that's it for them this episode. Kara and Guillermo is a super short segment. Kara is prepping for her big debut of her song called Lento, which I've heard online and it is nice. I need her to fix the way she says bachata, but that's neither here nor there for this scene. She is excited, but she's bummed. Her and her husband are not in a good place. She kicked him out. And she's hoping that he's going to show up to the show because she has been begging for him to show support. She has been begging for him to show effort. And she also feels confused and conflicted because he was the one that, you know, was super supportive of her performance when they were in the Dominican Republic, when they first met. So it's just confusing to her as to why he's so resistant now, right? And we see her about to get on stage and she's looking, you know, from the curtain to try to spot him. To the very last moment, she's trying to see if he's going to show up. They pan to where Guillermo is. It looks like he's setting up camping gear. He's looking rustic. And he's like, yeah, no, I'm not going. With everything going on, it really just doesn't feel right. For a man that claims that he wants his family together, all he needed to do was show up. You don't need to talk to her. You could just make sure that she sees you. You can clap at the end of the number. And then you can leave. Like, he is so stubborn. Remember that the reason they stopped sleeping together is because he stopped talking to her for 3 whole days while living in the same home. He needs to grow up. Kara is not perfect by any means, but I don't think that the way that he's handling conflict is okay. I also don't think that the way that she was acting was okay. He says that he, you know, saw her giddy texting. He went around to see who she was texting and she was like, it's none of your business. That was not okay. When that came up, I addressed it. I thought that that was not a way to make your partner feel safe, secure. That definitely escalated the issue. And it felt intentional. It felt cruel. That was not okay to do. I've called both of these things out, right? But she still invited him to her show. And she even secured childcare so that he can be fully available to go support her. He chooses not to. He is making a choice. And I think it's beyond that too, you guys. The way that Guillermo talks about Kara's music and her new venture, it comes off very judgmental, very bitter. And I think personally, this is my opinion, I think that because he has zero control of his own life, he is so upset that he cannot control hers. And so in turn, he's punishing her. And like, I will never understand the people that punish each other. Like Gino and Jasmine do the same thing. Like, it is just so toxic, and you cannot claim to want to save your marriage when you are acting like this. He's so self-righteous, and it's just, he has no business being married. But I also want to address something that I've been seeing just all over the interwebs. People have been speaking of Kara, and she is not my favorite person, but people have been speaking of her in a way that feels very sexist. So Kara has kept her page to be mainly about her career. Of course, she'll post her kid here and there. And Guillermo constantly is posting about their child. So people are making assumptions that Guillermo must be taking care of their kid the most. Just because she's not posting about her kid and she's posting like sexier pictures or pictures about her music does not mean that she's not taking care of her child. People can be many things, and she can choose to have her page as being a music promotion page. I think that we're being a little dense in thinking that if it's not on social media, it doesn't exist. Social media is a highlight reel, and I think that we shouldn't forget that. We see very little on screen, and I think that making such big assumptions about someone's parenting is very harmful. It's okay to not like Kara, but I wouldn't call her a bad mom. Just like I feel like Guillermo is a big ass baby and shouldn't be married, but that doesn't mean that he couldn't be a good dad to Nico. Many things can be true at once, and I just think that we need to chill. I usually try to keep my coverage on just a show because I don't know these people in real life, so I don't know what's up. And unless I see evidence that proves that Kara is a bad mother, I think that it is insane to make that assumption just because she's not constantly plastering her child's face. Unlike some people that have been transforming into mommy influencers when they're actually demons. I just think that we need to chill on that. That's it for them this episode. I'm gonna move on to Tigerlily&Adnan. It's a super small segment. Basically, Tigerlily wants to get pills made out of her placenta, which I've heard does wonders for your body. I think that if I ever get pregnant, I definitely want to do this. So they're at this place. Adnan is complaining left and right about, you know, the figurines of the female body. And it's honestly like a mother telling her child to relax, like, don't make a big deal. The whole time he's like, ugh, ugh. I think one of the ladies like shows them what the placenta looks like and what the process is like. And the whole time he's gagging, making noises. And I was just over it. That's it. That's really it for their segment. We're going to move on to the final shit show, which is Jasmine and Gino. A moment of silence for the rage that I felt watching this. Gino is picking out flowers for Natalie, okay? He is struggling on the colors because, you know, some colors mean love, some colors mean friendship. He wants to get something in between. He pulls up to Natalie's hotel room. Natalie is feeling happy to see him. She's flown all this way. They're drinking some champagne. She's like, oh, get the bubbles running in the hot tub. I'm gonna get ready. Gino is looking at this gorgeous woman because Natalie has a body yaddy on her. She hops into the hot tub, and I get a flashback of that season where Jasmine first came to America and they were in the hot tub, and we were told that he likes to pee on. You remember that, right? I got a flashback of that, and Gino must have gotten a flashback too because everyone has been telling him that Natalie looks like Jasmine, and it wasn't until this moment that he was like, oh, I see it.
She's got a big booty just like I like it, big ass, you know, and nice breasts, beautiful face, lips. Dana and Michelle are not wrong. I'm looking at Natalie and I'm thinking, you look so much like Jasmine, and now I'm getting Jasmine in my head a little bit, and things are getting a little bit weird.
And he's having a hard time getting into, like, you know, into the moment. And Natalie, you know, is feeling giddy. She's like, this is a good sign that he wanted me to be here. I want to, you know, take things a little further. So she kisses him and she's like, do you want to stay the night? And Gino says, I feel a little guilty because, you know, I'm technically still married. And she's like, oh, okay. And she's trying to understand, but she's also like, you flew me out here. You could have dealt with your guilt when I was in Vegas. And so Natalie is thrown off and she's like, you know what? I'll be patient, but I'm not going to wait forever. Okay. The next day we see them on a stroll. He's showing her around, you know, Michigan. They sit up in this bench and he's like, you're not mad, right? That, you know, that happened last night. And she's like, oh, that you rejected me? No, but I'm, you know, worried that you still got, you know, some other things going on. And he thanks her for her patience, but then he's about to deliver some gnarly news. And his delivery is frankly the worst. He's like, yeah, let's have a good time tonight. Let's enjoy each other's company. I just need you to know, though, that Michelle invited Jasmine. And Natalie's like, what? And he's worried for good reason, right? Like, Jasmine is the Tasmanian devil. But he's also pissed, right? Because Michelle and Dana are showing no loyalty to him. And they never have, and they never will. They are Team Jasmine, and they are his blood. And I can understand how that would hurt him. If I were Gino, that would hurt me too. It's complicated, right? Because when you marry someone, you do join families. And they are her family here. She doesn't have anyone else here. So I can understand having that bond. I understand both ends of why that connection is alive. However, if you know that things are tense, you're going to have to make a choice for certain functions. And I think that Gino would take precedent because that is your family. And early on, I was like, you know what? I hope that if they throw hands, that a hit lands on Michelle so she can wake the fuck up. Because she is getting on my nerves and it's only going to get worse. Natalie's like, you know what? I'm not happy about this, but maybe with Jasmine there, I'll get some answers. And Natalie says the famous last words, how bad can she be? Natalie, girl, I would start booking your ticket immediately. So it's time for the party. They pull up. Michelle is immediately interrogating, immediately like looking at Natalie up and down like she's the enemy. Natalie is not the enemy. Natalie is dating this man that has told her one thing and his situation is very different. But they pull up. Gino's cheap ass does not bring a gift. Okay. Michelle pulls up to them and she's like, you know that I'm friends with Jasmine, right? And now, Michelle, why would that be important to Natalie? Are you saying that, what, you can't be nice to Natalie? You can't be respectful to Natalie because you're friends with Jasmine? Like, what does that have to do with anything? And then she starts pressing Gino, like, so how are things with you and Jasmine? Because I know that you met up for dinner last week. And you could tell that Natalie didn't know that they met up. And Gino's like, well, it wasn't dinner. We met up for drinks. And she knows where I stand. And so Michelle is interrogating more and more. And Natalie is like putting pieces together and being like, I told you that I did not want to be in the middle. I also told you that when you were in Vegas, if you wanted to continue this along, you would have to set clear boundaries with Jasmine and be crystal clear that there is no hope of you getting back together. Now I'm hearing from Michelle and you that there's hopes of reconciliation. Like, what the hell? And like clockwork, Jasmine is making her entrance with her boyfriend, Matt. Okay? And the minute she comes in hot. And the optics of it is comical to me because you are angry that your husband dares to have a girlfriend as you are walking in side by side with your boyfriend. Okay. She prances in, she makes a loud entrance, like the sunshine has arrived, and only like a few people hug her. And then she's like, oh, so are we at a party or are we at a strip club? Which was a clear dig at Natalie being from Vegas. And Natalie is like, we're clearly at a birthday party. And Jasmine's like, oh, so I see we're bringing the horse from Vegas. And Natalie like steps up to her, like basically like, let's talk instead of you like yelling. I think that was her body language. I could understand how seeing someone step up forward to you may be like a sign of like a challenge. But Natalie not once looked like she was going to throw hands at Jasmine. Immediately when Natalie stepped forward, Jasmine pushed her back. Like, don't you come up to me like that. That is a no. On top of the hypocrisy that you're coming into this space, on top of the verbal abuse that you have been giving to everyone, and then you want people to forget when you start throwing out your waterworks, unforgivable. She starts calling Natalie whore, prostitute, just like the nastiest things. And I will tell you, when I heard Jasmine call Natalie whore, a lady that is innocent in this, because the only person that, if she's going to throw any daggers at, should be Gino. But again, she doesn't have ground to stand on when it comes to this. The only thing that made me feel at peace watching this is that in just a few months' time, she's going to sit on a stage and Rob is going to call her a pregnant whore. And do you remember her reaction, like appalled that someone would dare to call her a whore? Yet she calls other women all the names in the book online and in their faces so freely. I was like, wow, karma worked quick. Because in a few months' time, you got called a pregnant whore on camera. And then got online and started crying about it. This was so out of line, you guys. Jasmine's emotions, Jasmine's vitriol, Jasmine's aggression was out of line. That was real. That was real evilness. And she possesses that every single time. And I think that a lot of people are under her spell because she can be charming, because she is so emotional. But this is who she is. And I think that for a few seasons, this personality has been dormant and she has revealed her true form once again. This is why Gino won't touch her with a 10-foot pole. I'm not saying that what he did with holding and punishing her was okay, but this is the reason. So y'all, after she pushes Natalie, they obviously get pulled apart by people, right? Because they're both like trying to throw hits. There's a point that Natalie like runs around the pool table and Jasmine's about to like take her eyes out with her nails. They get pulled apart again. It looks like they were in a private room of this restaurant. So Natalie gets kicked out basically by security, and Jasmine comes out to the main part of the restaurant and is like, everybody meet the whore. And if you guys follow Kiki and Kibitz, she has shown us the footage, I think for like a year now. And we didn't know if it was like footage for the single life or what. But that's the footage that she showed us of Jasmine making a scene at this restaurant, trying to embarrass this other woman. So that's again why I was so happy that she got the treatment that she got in the Last Resort reunion. Karma is always on time. Because how dare you? How dare you? That's not okay. That will, like, being physical like that over a man that you don't even want. But she is literally like seeing red at the idea that Gino could ever move on with someone that's not her.
It's my husband. I have the rings. And she thinks that she can come here and take everything away from me. No, my dear.
When she doesn't even want him. She's here with her boyfriend. Like, can you imagine fighting for another man when the guy that you ride 5 times a week is right next to you? I just don't understand. It is gross, gross behavior. And Gino is equally gross because he is useless. He literally threw Natalie to the wolves. He did not prepare her because he was not honest. He set her up. If I were Natalie, I would never speak to Gino again. He was not protective of her. And he brought it to an environment where his family wasn't also protecting her either. Because at one point, I don't know if it was Michelle or one of his cousins that was like inside with Jasmine, like, you showed her. And Michelle looked very proud of herself by her little Jasmine side. Can you imagine being of that age and being that weak-minded and acting like you're in high school just because you want to be on camera with Jasmine? So Natalie is yelling outside. Jasmine is yelling from the inside, continuing to be cruel. Again, that mommy influencer persona that she throws on, this is who she really is, okay? She's literally looking out the window, yelling at Natalie. Natalie is outside yelling at Gino. Gino's like, this shouldn't have happened. And Natalie's like, this happened because of you. Because you lied. And I told you that I did not want to be in the middle. And that's exactly where you put me. And a part of me initially wanted to feel bad for Gino. Like, did he freeze because he had PTSD? But like, no. You decided to find your balls somewhere along the last Happily Ever After and the Last Resort. And then the top of this season, you need to have balls where it counts. You should have stood up for Natalie. And he didn't. So he's out here trying to make her feel better, but he doesn't have any bravado. He doesn't have anything. She is yelling, and I don't blame her. She's fuming, and I think she's fuming mostly because security took her out of the space, and she wanted to give it to Jasmine, because how dare you touch me? And I love that Natalie was out there dragging Jasmine's botched ass self, being like, how dare she call me a prostitute with her botched butt, botched face, botched lips, like going in. And I loved it. I'm all for going lower. When it's situations like this, you don't get to come to me like you're top dog. Like, that was just vile. But I think the part that I was like, Jasmine really has lost her marbles. And again, it's like a control thing. She's going on in front of Matt and in front of Michelle, that like, how dare this girl be standing next to my husband when I'm his wife? I'm the one with the ring. Again, I ask, it's convenient that Gino has to remember that he's your husband, but you don't remember that you're Gino's wife when you're gargling up Matt. Like, you know what I mean? Sorry if I'm being so nasty, you guys, but like, I think that people need to hear this a little more explicitly, how her acting that way is completely out of bounds. And I really do hope that Natalie breaks up with him immediately. I really hope that she doesn't go on with him a few days and then goes home and decides that she wants to break up with him. I need her to break up with him that night, because he clearly doesn't know how to respect you. He really doesn't know how to protect you. And Gino, let this be a lesson that until you divorce Jasmine, she will ruin every relationship that you're in. Because she will always have this chip on her shoulder, this entitlement that because she has the ring, she can fuck up your life. But God forbid you have an opinion on Matt. You know what I mean? So yeah, you guys, that was it for the recap. There was a lot. Please let me know your thoughts in the comments. I can't wait to read them. And I will see you next time when we cover Hunt for Love. Whew. Bye, you guys.